All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to BaboonyTim's YouTube channel. This is your host today, Jay Chambers, Nationals 2024 host, and I'm here today to interview your Type 1-2 player national champion, good old Mr. Tim Estes.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here. Glad I could make it on to my own YouTube channel.
So I have decided, considering that Tim did this to me early on in his time after I won the Thomas J. Chambers Memorial Tournament, interviewed me about honeypot. I'm going to interview him about his national experience, considering we've done this whole journey to nationals over the past. Is it 6 months? Have you?
I
Is it
mean,
about 6 months, or is it like 8 months? Well, how long has it been?
January 2024, so I'm guessing it's 8 months at this point.
Yeah, about 8 months of being back to redemption, and he's your 2024 Type 1-2 player national champion.
I mean, it's quite surreal. I'm looking at the plaque right now as we're recording. I just every time I look at it, I'm like, really? How did this happen?
Well, congratulations. You've done something that I will never do.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
But
you smoked Mr. Classic. The
hey, I know. But here's the thing, Jay doesn't win nationals. He may win everything else, but he doesn't win nationals.
I mean,
So,
it's a blessing and a curse, I suppose.
well, we'll see. So I've got a few questions for you, Mr. Tim. And so my first one today for you is, what was the highlight of your nationals experience outside of winning Type 1-2 player?
There's a couple good memories I want to choose from. I think having dinner after the day two of nationals, we went to Hibachi restaurant, and that's where they cook all the food for you. And I don't think I've ever really been somewhere like that. And then Jeremy, he sat next to me, Jeremy, your brother, and he offered to pay for my meal, which is like, where did that come from? So that was like really kind and sweet and really stuck out to me. I'm also just getting to stay at the Airbnb and watch the fantasy draft go down. I was just laughing in the background, and I had to walk out of the room because I was laughing too much.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just,
Yeah, Nationals hibachi. That's sort of a tradition that
mhm.
I think Jeremy and I really have served to foster down through the
Yeah,
years. So
yeah.
I'm really glad. I don't know if you saw me. We brought a group into the same restaurant
Mhm.
and sat on the other side. It was a blast. And so our community is small, but we've got a lot of personalities. And the beautiful thing about nationals every year, and one of the reasons I really wanted to host it, was the fact that we bring it all together. And so no matter how much we might fight online or trash talk, we all get together and it's just a good party and a good time, and there's a lot of fun and fellowship. And so going into nationals, who are you most excited to meet in person? Like, if you just had to pick somebody.
Oh man, I can't just pick one person. There's so many people online that okay. I was excited to see Tyler again. I love talking with Tyler. Jake, I've never met Jake before, so it's good just to meet him in person after becoming friends with him. And probably you, Jay.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I felt like the entire nationals experience. I felt like I was scurrying around like a little beetle on the wall.
Well,
It was surreal.
you had a
So,
lot going on, so
yeah, absolutely. And so my next question for you today is the only strategy related question, because we've done a lot of strategy, we've done a lot of deck techs, all those things. So I'm going to give you one question. If you could, what is the one thing, or not one thing? What would you change about your deck from your nationals performance? I know you won, but is there anything you would change?
right. I thought for the most part, the deck just felt like every single card had its place and purpose and felt like the right decision. But the only card I wish I could add is maybe Shepherds of Bethlehem to give a little soul gen. Probably putting that card in the reserve just so like if it never happened to me during the tournament, but if ever ran into Soul Drought, like that could have just ended my run.
Even though you've got the soul gen on the or Star of Bethlehem with Lost Child Found and all that, you need more.
I mean, more never hurts, I guess.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, my friend. And so that was our strategy moment for the video today.
Yep.
And so my next question is one that I'm hoping that your answer can help benefit the community at large, as well as those of us who host nationals. And so what would you suggest regarding the tournament to improve the nationals experience for the next host next year?
The feedback I was hearing around was giving more time for people to build their decks for I think it was the sealed part. Just felt like pretty rushed. People, if they had more time, I felt like they could enjoy the process a little bit more and also get some more trades in with their trading partner. As far as like things that I've been involved with nationals, like I don't have a great baseline upon what to compare it to, but overall, I felt it ran really smoothly. The judges were really great about keeping people on time, and it helped having a lot of judges around, and that was nice. It was overall really fun, really great, and the way the deck checks were run and also the match slips were recorded, like that seemed really efficient and well thought of in advance. So besides that, I can't think of anything, but if I do, I'll send you a message.
I appreciate that. And so, sort of our last question in our nice little, 15-minute interview or however long this is going to end up being is, will we be seeing any of BaboonyTim at any of the major tournaments outside of nationals, stuff like maybe the Thomas J. Chambers Memorial Tournament in November or Mr. Classic next March?
Oh yeah, that's honestly like the first time I have to think about this question, but I mean, I'm definitely not done yet. So, and I want to continue building these relationships that I've started at nationals. So, Jaden was like, "Yeah, we should come out to Minnesota one time." I'm like, "Huh, I've never thought about going to Minnesota, but now I have a reason to." And I think going to the Mr. Classic in March would be something I'm very interested in doing because isn't that like invite only? And did I see your
So,
invite?
so the 8-man invitational tournament of Mr. Classic is invitation only, and we have a tradition of inviting the winner of Type 1-2 player. So I can officially say that you have been invited to this year's Mr. Classic.
I remember just watching the live stream of last year's Mr. Classic and just kind of wondering, like, oh, it'd be cool to go there one day, But it's like, oh, it's invited. There's only 8 people. So, like, what a small world. It's just, I never imagined that would happen, but here we are.
Absolutely. I mean, man, you've got the story, like the story of a generation. You come back, you document the journey to nationals, and then just you get there, it's your first nationals, and you win Type 1-2 player at your first nationals. I mean, that's sort of the story of a lifetime in a way.
It's very fairy book like, and I'm still kind of pinching myself, like asking, like, did that really just happen? And it's I don't know how to explain it.
I know that it was an awesome moment for our community, awesome moment to grow our community, especially you having this wonderful platform here on YouTube. As the Nationals host and as a fellow competitor, one of your 2 losses, I was very proud to see you go all the way.
Thanks. You almost knocked me out. That was sketch.
Man, for some reason or another, I thought I did.
Right.
So, and then when I heard that you cut, I'm like, cool. He must not have lost after I beat him.
Yeah. You really put me up back against the wall, but I guess under pressure, that's when I shine, which was kind of
Good.
crazy. I
Don't
didn't know how I was going to do like after playing, 8 rounds of redemption in a row. But the cool thing was I felt myself becoming better as the day progressed, which was very interesting.
That's awesome. Yeah, you played so one thing I love Top Cut. I know there's been criticism about single game single elimination Top Cut, but I've never had a problem with it as a player or as a host or as a spectator because it's fundamentally the same as Swiss
hmm
in that if you lose 3 games, basically you can't win the tournament. So,
hmm
and the way that it worked out is that everyone who had exactly two losses made it into the top cut. So that was the way it's supposed to work.
hmm I really
So
enjoyed the Top Cut, especially like the spectacle of it and the story and the fantasy brackets people were filling out and trying to get the perfect bracket. I mean, that was just a great idea. I love that.
as a tournament host, Top Cut is something that I've always appreciated. I campaigned for Top Cut when it came out in 2013. When we first started doing it, I was part of the voices that were in favor of Top Cut. So, someone coming from sort of a competitive Pokemon trading card game background, Top Cut's something they did at tiny tournaments.
hmm
And so, I mean, I'm a proponent for Top Cut and redemption tournaments at any level once you get above 16, 20
Yeah,
people.
I mean, some of
But
my favorite memories from my old trading card game that I used to play Magic was at the pre-releases. You sit down, you play, and after all those rounds, you would have a cut to top 8. And it was just like that. Yeah, that was the goal. Like, oh man, I just got to make it to top 8. And that, I think there's something just fun about that. The spectacle of the event, the story, and you could tell your friends, like, I made it to top 8. But the logistical problem is like it adds more rounds and you have people kind of waiting around, waiting for their friends to get out of top 8. So there's
well,
pros and cons to it.
but I think that allows for more fellowship. with other
Mm,
players
right.
because we did the brackets. We all went and talked
Hmm.
and commentated the game together.
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest experiences was being in that viewing room. Me and John Greason coming back after 5 years and just together, him and I commentating on the different games as they were occurring.
Tell
It
me,
was just a blast.
tell me a little bit more about that background because obviously I didn't get a chance to go back in there. What was that like, and what were some highlights
So
there?
there was a good number of players, and we were a good cross section between grizzled veterans who played forever, modern top players, John who played years ago and hasn't been around for a while, and then just also just some of the players, the ones that got super excited about getting to
Hmm.
meet all the people they knew online.
Hmm.
And so that cross section between the younger players, the older players, the quote professionals, and then the more casual players. It was just a really, really unifying moment. Kind of reminds me of how we all can gather together just under this banner of redemption. Instead of there's so many things in the world that divide us, but
Yeah.
with redemption, I feel like just the truth of Ephesians 4:6, one Lord, one faith, one baptism,
Mm,
one Lord and Father of us all.
yeah.
It just I felt that in those moments, and it really, which for me the tournament, because Type 1's the one category I got to play, and it was a little disappointing after the year I've had not making the top cut,
Hmm.
but it was just like I'm like I honestly think this is more fun
Right.
than if I was getting timed on a timer. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's a little stressful. Oh
but
man, I love to hear that. Thanks for sharing.
yeah, so
Before we call this video, I did want to ask you a couple of questions.
sure.
What did it mean for you personally to be able to host Redemption Nationals this year?
Man, it feels like the whole story comes full circle. So I was actually talking with Rob Anderson, and we determined that I'm the first Redemption kid to host
Hmm.
nationals. So I started playing Redemption in 2005 at the humble age of 7.
Mm.
And I mean, I've played Redemption for 20 years of my life come next year.
Wow.
And so to host nationals, and especially to be the 30th one, was just surreal.
Yeah.
And also to do it at a young age, because Rob also confirmed that I'm the youngest person to host the
Mm.
nationals. And so it was just surreal to bring it back full circle because I've been at every step of the journey. I've been the young guy at his first nationals.
Hmm.
I've been one of the pros chasing the win.
Hmm.
And now I've been the host,
Yeah.
and it's surreal.
Oh man, it feels almost like a baton is getting passed to like the next generation of Redemption players, and it's a very promising future, you know.
Absolutely. I hope so. I want to be a part of that future.
Yeah. But I guess I just have one more question. Do you have a personal memory that sticks out to you the most from this nationals?
Hmm. I'll tell you one thing that's the one thing that's going to be burned in my memory was Titus and Zane Brooks. Those guys, man, like it's incredible. They have a YouTube channel documenting their life with Markio syndrome. And they were just a blast because they were so enthusiastic. I remember Zane, he's the younger of the two. He drove up to I was just sitting there, just chilling. He drove up. He says, "Do you have any cards for trade?" And I'm like, "Get your binder, bud." Because I'm not a big trader. And so we ended up, he didn't have a lot, but we made a trade.
Hmm.
And I mean, it was awesome. And those guys, they were enthusiastic. And here's the thing, too, for the rest of the Redemption community, you have no excuse if you don't know how to shuffle your deck. You have no excuse because Titus and Zane can shuffle better than half of all of you.
It's so funny. Oh man. I remember when I got to go to Arkansas, and that's kind of where their stomping grounds are, and getting to meet them for the first time. It's just such it was a wonderful experience. I'll never forget that. And like you said, they're just so eager about the game and wanting to learn, and also having that journey of like not having a lot of cards and wanting to be able to trade and upgrade. And it was cool to watch them run around and like get their Gabriel sign and get the ultra rares. And it just reminded me of like how innocent and simple like redemption could be at its purest form.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean the kids in general, like that's that ethereal, ever present memory is going to be just the joy of like those 7 kids, 6 kids that were playing Redemption
Hmm.
like the whole time,
Hmm.
and just different, like just running around the tournament hall and excited, and I had the privilege of a couple of different chances or cases getting to bless some of them with a little gift or a promo card
Yep.
or something,
Yeah.
and it was just super cool.
I saw some
Like
two
they
bears
just
getting in the binders.
gotta love those 2 bears.
I didn't mean to interrupt your last statement. What were you gonna say?
No, it's just the joy, just getting
Mm.
to see them having just pure fun.
Yes.
It's I think it's what Rob had in mind when he made this game, and it's something that is going to go on as long as there is redemption.
Hmm.
And another secondary memory. It's not nationals itself. It's kind of capstone to my nationals weekend.
Okay.
I got to drive down to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and attend, for a brief moment, attend the Christian Product Expo that Rob was presenting, or had his booth at, demonstrating, exhibiting. There we go. That's the word we're
Hmm.
looking for. He was exhibiting his products to Christian bookstores and things like that who come to the Christian Product Expo, and then we got to have dinner afterwards, and it was just surreal to be able to have a dinner with the man who basically defined my childhood
Hmm.
and now even into my adulthood.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for me personally, redemption has been a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I live in Michigan because of redemption. If we really, I mean, ultimately, I live in Michigan because of God. But it's redemption was the instrumental means that the Lord used to move me from Alabama, pastoring in Georgia, to Michigan. So Luke Marshall,
Hmm.
who's a missionary with Crossroads Farms, actually recommended me to the church that I'm currently the pastor at. And so I always say that, and the only way I know Luke Marshall is because of redemption.
Hmm.
And so I like to say that redemption is why I moved to Michigan. It's the instrumental cause for me, or means by which God caused me to move to Michigan.
Yeah, I can definitely tell how much redemption has left a fingerprint on your life, and it's a good fingerprint. And I imagine just being able to sit with kind of the guy who kind of started it all, that must have been a huge honor.
It was a blast. I mean, just we walked down the downtown Fort Wayne to get to the restaurant, and it was a great experience.
Hmm.
Good use of 3 hours. That was for sure.
I think if I had to say what's something that's been defining my last year, and it's definitely been redemption. Me, like redemption's been something that I've thought a lot about during this last year, and spent a lot of time making videos for. It's been a fun journey, and now it's incredible to believe people I had never met or known like 8 months ago. Now I'm like good friends with them. Now have reasons to go travel to Michigan and Minnesota and Arkansas. It's just redemption opens up doors, like you were saying, for sure.
It does. It's an awesome game. I mean, there's not really any collectible card game like it anymore.
Hmm. I think
So
because the community is so small, it fosters that you really want to be intentional with the connections you make, and you get to really like know people. I think there's the kind of like a similar picture. Like the bigger church, the less likely it is you'll get to actually connect with people. But if there's like a smaller community, like then it's easier to make those bridges. And I feel like that's exactly kind of where redemption is right now.
absolutely, it's definitely a pleasure to be able to give back to the game. This game has given me so much, and I mean, it helped me through the experience of losing my son
Mm-hmm.
and so many other things. This community is just, I was profoundly blessed to be able to give back to this community.
Yeah, similarly, I've been blessed by redemption too, because I was coming out of a season of unemployment and just kind of feeling purposelessness. And redemption gave me something to dedicate some time and have this feeling that I'm making other people's lives better because of what I'm doing, which I didn't really have before that. So thank you, redemption, for allowing that for me.
Absolutely. All right, Redemption community. Thank you for putting up with me as I took over Tim's channel today. I hope that you've enjoyed this interview between myself, or my humble attempts to interview the master. And so looking forward to the tournament season this year. And I want to thank all of you for allowing me to be your Nationals host in 2024. And I look forward to when I get to bring Nationals back to Pure Michigan in a few years.
Yeah.